I'm Ed Bryant, and I write a lot of things in science fiction, fantasy, horror, suspense, but right now I'm very interested in writing for the Wildcard series. As I am one of the original Wildcards contributors, this goes back 30 years into my past. And even then, I was a bit of an outsider for the Wildcards project in that so many of the Wildcards writers started out as being men and women who had gamed together in New Mexico. I'm from Denver, Colorado, so I wasn't part of the gaming community. In fact, I'm not a big fan of gaming anyway, but I was a fan of the kind of thing that George Martin told me was going to happen with the Wildcards project, which back then was looking at one volume, and that might be it, though who knew? And so at that period in time, there was no internet to speak of, so everything was done by mail. I was writing on a typewriter, and that's where it all started, with mail going back and forth and long distance telephone calls going back and forth between me and George and the rest of the people in New Mexico. The original character that I created for the series was a man named Jacques Robichaud, who was a Cajun American, and his particular peculiar talent was that, particularly under stress, strong stress, he could turn into an alligator. So call him a Weir alligator. And he was my primary character. Another character that I created early on in the series was, I guess you'd call him an alternate world Buddy Holly, as in the musician. In the Wildcards universe, Buddy Holly and Richie Valens and the Big Bopper and the pilot, Roger Peterson, never actually died in the Beechcraft Bonanza, that terrible long ago night in bad weather in Clear Lake, Iowa. And so Buddy Holly survived to become a major rock musician. Then his career fell into a bit of decay. And so I had to write a story called The Second Coming of Buddy Holly, about what would have happened in this other world if Buddy Holly had not died untimely. And that, again, was a lot of fun to do because I love the music. Let's see, what character would I enjoy writing? Golly. Well, one particular character that actually dates back to the same era is a woman whose street name is Vagabond. And what she is a bag lady, shopping cart lady. But what makes her distinctive, two things. First of all, she's a high-functioning psychotic, which I find fascinating as a character. And the other thing is, I've always had cats in my life, and Vagabond has two large, intelligent black cats that she's essentially in a symbiotic relationship with. She can communicate very well with these critters, and they watch out for her on the streets of Manhattan. And she watches out for them too. And I'd love to write a story someday about Vagabond, although she's, after 30 years, she's getting a little bit long in the tooth. And we just take it on faith that the cats are still alive and doing well. Well, I was delighted finding out about Wildcards being picked up for television. I found out, as I think all the other writers in the project, both old and new, found out with an email from George Martin, but with the caution that even though this was incredibly exciting news, that Universal wanted to have its own superhero franchise, that we were not allowed to breathe a word to anybody. or unspecified terrible things would happen to us all for violating security. So at least 6 months, we were all sworn to secrecy and waiting to see when the public announcement was going to be. That then happened just a couple of weeks ago. And that was wonderful, being able to announce to people, to our friends, or just casual people on the street, hey, guess what? This project I've been working with for many, many years has a chance to have a quantum level jump in popularity and exposure. So it was just as Wildcards has been a long project with a 30-year span. That 6 or 7 months that it took to get the film and TV project ready for public disclosure took its own sweet time itself. Boy, was I ever glad that it happened. What's coming up next for me would be, first of all, I've got to finish a novelette that I've been trying to get to work properly for one of the upcoming Wildcards books. There are 3 being put together now. I'm in a book called Texas Hold'em, which is, as much as anything, a young adult collection, or I should say connected novel, taking place in a high school jazz festival in San Antonio. And I've always loved visiting Texas, and I like San Antonio, so it's been a pleasure working on it. The problem is the ending has taken me forever to do. After that, I hope there will be more Wildcard stories, and as well, there's a whole list of stories that I do want to write that I'm really aching to get to. So we'll see. I don't have any obligations in terms of future writing right now. I'm basically taking as it comes and pretty much doing the sort of thing that I just want to do. So we'll see. Being older than the average Wildcards writer, I don't have a website. I've never gotten around to doing it. In part because people keep, well, I started out with edwardbryant.com, and then I got a call from a guy at the Republican National Committee, which may seem odd, but it turned out there was a U.S. representative from Tennessee named Edward Bryant, and they were desperate for his reelection campaign to get my website. Well, how could I resist something like that? So the best place to find out information about me or what I'm doing is my Facebook page. But that's about it. I don't tweet. I don't pay much attention to the social media, and I know it's terribly counterproductive to a contemporary career in the media, but there you go.